Welcome back to my channel. Why do people mask suicidal thoughts? If you're new to the channel and you're wondering why does this lady have all these masks on her videos? Well, let's define mask. Mask is to hide, to conceal, or to disguise. So I'm only using these masks as an illustration or to represent what we do when we are struggling with our mental health and having a mental health crisis, and we go before our friends and family and we disguise and pretend as though everything is okay. And I know sometimes we feel that way because we think that we'll be often ostracized or stigmatized, and we feel embarrassed. But it's my goal, my hope, to use my own testimony so we can begin to tear down the stigma and for us to learn to reach out and speak up when you are struggling with your mental health. Reach out to positive friends and family, not negative, but positive friends and family. Also, there are a team of specialists that are trained to help you navigate through your mental health crisis, such as a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a mental health therapist. They are available to provide you with a roadmap and a treatment plan to help you get back stable. So it is my goal, my desire to use my own testimony because I today live with a mental illness. Is it difficult? Yes. However, with the proper treatment plan, reaching out to your friends and family when you're struggling, reaching out to your mental health providers to let them know that you're struggling so they can provide that treatment plan to help you get back on track. The month of May is observed for mental health awareness. And on yesterday, I was going to start out breaking down what was mental health. However, the world heard devastating news. We lost a legend, a phenomenal singer, Naomi Judd, to mental illness. Naomi Judd, she unmasked her veil because she shared and was vulnerable and transparent with her own testimony and her own struggles with mental health. She even wrote a book about mental health. So it saddens me today to say we lost her. So on yesterday, I did a slide just to honor her legacy and her life. So what is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps us how we determine how we handle stress and relate to others and make healthy choices. Mental health is important in every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. So people, sometimes we misconstrue sadness and mental illness, which they are tied. But sadness is an emotion. So typically when you go through something traumatic in your life, we will be faced with sadness. And sometimes some people get through the sadness and they go on to be productive. However, when we experience mental illness, it is a mood disorder and it is a disorder of the brain. So it is an illness. So someone that has experienced something traumatic when they're going through mental illness is different because it's debilitating. It can affect the way they act, the way they live. It can affect their mood. It can affect their daily function. And it affects the way they have hope. And sometimes they lose hope and become suicidal. So oftentimes we misconstrue sadness and mental illness, which they are tied. But again, mental illness is persistent sadness, which affects our mood and have us, we can become erratic. We can lose hope. So they are tied, but they are different. So as we learn to break down the stigma and stop judging people, I believe we can unpack and help people to learn to reach out when they are struggling with their mental health. So it is my goal and my desire to use my own testimony. I sit here today, 12 years living with a mental illness. Yes, it is difficult. Some days are harder than others. Some days I feel I can conquer the world. Then other days I am faced with debilitating depression. However, I am living today. I thank God that He spared my life. I stayed suicidal even after my suicidal attempt for 3 years. But today I am suicidal free. So again, it is my goal to use my own testimony to give you tools and a roadmap to let you know that you can learn to live with a mental illness and don't feel ashamed when you are having a mental health crisis. To learn to reach out to positive friends and family and to contact a team of specialists, which are a licensed psychiatrist, a licensed psychologist, or a licensed mental health therapist. They are trained to provide you with a roadmap and a treatment plan to get you back stable so you can learn to live with your mental illness. They can help you unpack the depression, your triggers, and get you back on a road to recovery. Although the terms are often used interchangeably, poor mental health and mental illness are not the same. A person can experience poor mental health and not be diagnosed with a mental illness. Likewise, a person diagnosed with a mental illness can experience periods of physical, mental, and social well-being. So when someone is impacted with a mental illness, it could be debilitating as well on their physical health, and they can begin to lose hope and feel suicidal. So it's very imperative for us to learn not to be judgmental and to be an inspiration to someone and let them know that they can open up and speak with you and that you can offer them some great advice or even go along with them to a mental health provider so they can determine the diagnosis. 90% of all mental illness cases have a treatable diagnosis. However, it's imperative for us to go seek out to a specialist so we can begin to get diagnosed so they can provide a treatment plan specifically for you. While supporting mental health is a must, mental health is a major factor in how we live our lives, including how we work. When our mental health is good, people are productive, we're happy, we're healthy, and we're able to bounce back from what life throws us. But when it's poor, it can be difficult to function on a daily basis, finding meaning in our work and in our lives. So when we are challenged in going through that mental crisis, it could be very debilitating. It prevents us from functioning daily. So again, people, it is my hope and my desire to use my own testimony, and I hope that you learn to reach out when you are struggling with your mental health. If you feel that you don't have anyone to call, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, they are available 24 hours by 7 days a week, and they can be reached at 1-800-273-8255. I know that number also well because I have utilized that number, and they have trained professionals that can help coach you and give you hope and inspire you to keep living, and also provide resources in your area so you can get back on track. So people, I just wanted to give you hope and inspire you and encourage you So don't suffer in silence and that you're not alone. I sit here before you 12 years living with a mental illness, and it's been a long, hard road. And as I stated before, I have my days of good and bad. But you can learn to live with your mental health crisis. Just learn to speak out, reach out for help, and get a treatment plan, and don't lose hope. I know your story because I myself lived it, and your now is not your forever. I hope I inspire you and encourage you to speak out when you are struggling. May God bless you, may He keep you, and thank you for listening to my channel. Until the next time.